and apparent inability to initiate a friendship. She didn't know that she had been described as compliant but withdrawn by her kindergarten teacher, or that Mrs. Fredericks daily looked for little ways to engage Megan in social interaction with her classmates. Megan only knew that most things she did in class went unnoticed, and so she stared. Megan noted the deep golden hue of the girl's braids, the tiny pearl earrings in her pierced ears, her jeans edged with red trim, the daisies on her white knit top, and the smooth, unfreckled cheeks on her perfect face. Subconsciously, Megan reached up to her own cheeks and flicked a few hated freckles away, aware, and yet unaware, that they stayed just the same. But then something amazing happened. The new girl locked her eyes on Megan's, and for the first time in a very long time, Megan did not feel invisible. It was a scary feeling, and yet nice at the same time. The girl had noticed her. She had been discovered. Then the girl lifted up the corners of her mouth and offered a grin that was nearly imperceptible. But Megan saw it. The new girl was smiling at her. Megan let the corners of her mouth rise in response. It was a shared moment that was too quickly swept away into the next. The girl's mother squeezed her daughter's shoulder, backed out, and left. Mrs. Fredericks closed the classroom door and gently ushered the girl farther into the classroom. "Class, this is Jennifer Lovett," Mrs. Fredericks said. "She likes to be called Jen. Can you tell her hello?" A chorus of commanded greetings filled the room. As Megan said the name Jen for the first time, she felt strangely drawn to this new word, its lyrical quality, and its beautiful owner. As Jen slipped into an available chair at table 2, she cast a glance back at Megan, as if to reassure Megan that yes, she had indeed noticed her. Mrs. Fredericks then instructed the class to stand one at a time and tell Jen their first and last names, starting with table 1. When it was Megan's turn and she stood and whispered her own name, the boys at her table snickered and one of the girls said, "Say it again, she can't hear you." "I heard her," Jen said, surprising everyone. "Her name is Megan Diamond." Megan had a hard time concentrating on making acceptable W's that morning, and later she kept dropping the colored beads she was using to make a patterned sequence on a string. She kept looking at the new girl, wondering why in the world she had smiled at her. Was she teasing her in some way? Was she strange? Was she just being nice? Finally, it was story time, and Mrs. Fredericks instructed the students to each take a seat on one of the carpet squares in the reading circle. Megan set herself down on one of the gray squares because no one liked those, and she wouldn't have to worry about defending it. 2 squirrely boys plopped down on either side of her, oblivious to her. Megan drew up her legs closer to her body, not daring to look at either boy, but wishing with all her heart they would move. Jen was suddenly standing by the boy on Megan's right. "I'm sitting next to Megan," she said to the boy, plainly and confidently. The boy, who hardly realized he had sat down next to a girl, cast a glance at Megan and quickly scooted away. Jen dropped to her knees on the open purple square. "Look," Jen said, pointing to her ankles as she folded her legs. "We have the same socks." Megan, nearly transfixed by the preceding moment, looked down at her own feet. It was true. She and Jen had the same white socks dotted with rosebuds and edged in lace. Megan could hardly believe Jen had noticed when even she hadn't. "I got mine at Penny's," Jen said quietly, as if divulging a wonderful secret. "So did I," Megan replied, barely above a whisper. "Do you have a cat?" Jen continued, like it was obviously the next question to be asked. Megan could tell Jen wanted it to be true, that Megan did indeed have a cat. She couldn't contain the smile that spread across her face. "We have a tabby cat. His name is Pippin. He's orange." "You are so lucky," Jen said in reply. "We can't have a cat because my brother Charlie has allergies." Megan had wanted very badly to ask Jen what allergies were, but their conversation ended then because Mrs. Fredericks took her place at the top of the circle and held a finger to her lips. But Megan couldn't concentrate on the story Mrs. Fredericks read, or anything else.